So there are times that a PDF document is acceptable for websites, but generally speaking, I would say avoid uploading too many PDFs because PDF was a print format. And of course, the web is not print. You've got a lot more opportunity for interactivity on the web and be a little bit more creative with the layout in some cases. Typical scenario that might be acceptable for things like company reports, there might be certain sales documents or specification sheets that have to follow a particular format, and that might not be easily replicated on the web. So uploading a PDF might be a necessity in those cases. But there's a few other reasons why I would generally avoid uploading PDFs. Accessibility is the first one. PDFs aren't as accessible as web page content. So if you've got an audience with particular accessibility needs, they might struggle a little bit to read some of the content in that PDF document, and it would be a lot easier for them to do so on their laptop or the mobile device. Of course, if they're on a mobile device, PDFs aren't that friendly there either because you generally have to pinch and zoom. So it would be far better to have that content in a web page, and then it's much easier. You can access it as nature intended, as it were, and it's far more user-friendly. From an accessibility point of view, moving on to search point of view, yes, search engines can index a PDF, but it's going to take them longer to do so. Unlike a web page, you can't set inbound links to a PDF document that search engines are going to recognize. You have got limited control over things like headings and titles and those sorts of things. So you've got far more opportunity to get web page content indexed than PDF documents. So, and of course, if you've got a keyword search on your site as well, you're never going to be able to search inside that PDF. There are ways of making that work, but it's added complexity. So again, another reason to make it far more practical to have your content in a web page format and not a PDF. Now, if there are scenarios where you do have to have a PDF document, it makes sense if your website supports that for it to be generated on demand. And the beauty there is actually you're giving people a choice. They can access it in the web native format or the PDF format. Web native format or the PDF format, but it also means that the content's going to be current. It's not going to be out of date because it's built on demand, so it's going to reflect exactly the content that you've got on your website. So actually you're creating another benefit there. You're saving someone the job of having to update a separate PDF document and then the web page as well. So it's far more consistent. And I'd argue it's far easier to share a link to a web page than it is to share a link to a PDF. So if there are situations, perhaps in a long sales cycle or something like that, where you're actually having to share information around, it's a lot quicker and easier to share a link that someone can access rather than having to download, upload attachments and send those by email where they all get lost in the process. So yeah, use PDF sparingly. Don't treat your website like a filing cabinet and just upload PDFs willy-nilly. Think more carefully about your audience and the content and how they're going to be consuming that content.